Canelo's really good. Really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you.
Top boxes are excited as the mega fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence but Crawford approaches, and opinions range from world champions to seasoned trainers. There are different opinions in the fighting world about who will win. This important pound-for-pound matchup, which starts with Eddie Hearn, one of the most well-known heavyweight boxing experts, has now turned his attention to Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Hearn had always thought that Canelo was on his side, but after meeting Crawford, he seems to be changing his mind. For the matchroom boss, Crawford's unwavering confidence, calm energy, and laser-sharp focus will never go away.
Are you still favoring Crawford in the fight, or has your opinion changed?
I mean, I've always favoured Canelo in the fight.
Well, I've heard that you want Canelo to win, but you
of
feel
course,
big.
I like Terence. I've worked a lot with Canelo, and I think just because of what I saw in Riyadh and because of the threat, and he's getting on as well, Crawford, but it's just like the mindset of Crawford. Like, there's no doubt in Terence Crawford's mind that he wins this fight. And when you spend a bit of time with him, you kind of start buying into.
Hearn admits that the perfect welterweight has a level of mental strength and self-belief that is hard to deny after traveling with Crawford during fight week. As Hearn looked at Crawford, he was sure that he wasn't just there for the money, he was here to shock the world. Not only did Hearn admit that his view is changing, he also said that it now feels like a real 50-50 battle, a very close chess match between two generations of great players.
Buying into that. And I guess that's what happened in Riyadh, because I travelled with him to the fight, and but it's a 50-50 fight. I think gun to head, I'm probably picking Crawford right now, but I want Canelo to win. I know he can win for sure, but Terence is going to make it really tricky and awkward for him, and I don't think he's going to like that kind of fight.
Still, Hearn makes it clear that he wants Canelo to win, but he is aware of the task Crawford presents. Hearn warned that Crawford's slick, awkward, and extremely cerebral approach might pose severe problems for Canelo, especially if Alvarez is unable to set his feet and get into rhythm. Card supports Canelo, but he also says that Crawford's way of fighting will make things hard for the champion. It's important for Crawford to be able to make the fight awkward and hard, and Hearn knows that this could tip the scales in Crawford's favor. Furthermore, renowned boxing commentator Jim Gray called the fight as one of the most entertaining in recent boxing history and did not mince words in his analysis.
I'm kidding. But...
No bias. He's the greatest fighter on the planet. What's the bias? He belongs with the greats, okay? Greatest Mexican fighter. He's the greatest pound-for-pound fighter for a long time. This guy's just a proven tremendous boxer and talent. So yes, no, there's no bias. I do love him personally. I love the way he fought. I love the way he conducts and carries himself.
Gray talked about Canelo's strong body blows, great timing, and high fighting IQ. Canelo as a fighter has been tested multiple times on the grandest stage, but he has always found a way to adapt. Gray said, "To say Crawford is simply another challenger is an understatement. He is a technician, with sniper-like precision, unsettling agility, and an unrivaled ability to switch stances and methods throughout a fight." Jim Gray then turned his focus to Terence Crawford's impressive skill set, and he did not mince words. Labeling Crawford one of the world's most complete and smartest fighters, he stressed Crawford's ring skills, timing, adaptability, and round-by-round analysis of an opponent's style.
Terence Crawford's a great fighter. Terence Crawford, everybody says perhaps the pound-for-pound guy. I mean, we can have these mythical lists, and we can pick 3 or 4 of them, but he would be on somebody's list probably at the top.
However, Gray cautioned that Canelo's size, physical strength, and recent bouts in the weight class in which he will fight could play a critical role in closely contested bouts. Those minor advantages could be the difference in Canelo proving so difficult to break down late in the contest that settled decisions may be in his favor again.
Bo is getting a little bit older, but Canelo weighs a lot more, and Canelo fights more often. And so I think it's an intriguing matchup, and against Terence Crawford, moving up in weight, who like I say, that young man's been a monster. Okay, going up against the great Canelo, so it's going to be fun. It's a delete.
As Terence Crawford prepares for his big fight with Canelo Alvarez, welterweight star Jiren Boots Annis commented on Crawford's chances of defeating the Mexican juggernaut and voiced entire faith in Crawford's ability to rise to the situation, adding that Crawford's danger rests not just in skill, but also in mindset. He praised Crawford's great boxing IQ, describing him as a master of reading opponents, adapting mid-fight, and breaking them down round by round. If anyone can solve Canelo's puzzle, says Annis, it is Crawford. Cool under pressure, sharp on strategy, and deadly with the timing.
Believe me, but I'm leaning towards Terence.
Oh, okay.
Remember this though. Terence and Boots is almost like similar when it comes to that weight thing, right?
Yes.
Boots gets up big, but I seen Boots at a certain weight where he can handle them big guys and stopping them, be knocking them out in the sparring in the gym.
Wow.
When he's up in weight. So I think that's a beautiful weight for Terence, but that's going up to 168 though, right?
Yeah, 168.
Yeah, but I think he can handle it, man.
He can do it.
And then one thing about Terence, though, people don't understand, he can box and he's smart.
Yes.
He don't waste no punches, man.
He won't waste that.
When getting into the specifics of how Terence Crawford could dismantle Canelo Alvarez, Jiren Boots Annis gave a concise description of what he sees as the key to victory. Annis stressed a significant gap between their styles. Canelo thrives when he's planted, creating power from his solid base to deliver devastating body-breaking blows, but Annis pointed out that same strength can also be a vulnerability against a fighter like Crawford.
I would have him frustrating Canelo. What I would do with him, I would hit him with some good shots, combination shots, because Canelo got to be set to throw punches.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? If what you call
Crawford, on the other hand, is fluid and constantly changing angles, never giving his opponent a fixed point of reference. Annis suggested that Crawford employ lateral footwork and deceptive timing to keep Canelo off balance and prevent him from planting his feet. According to Annis, if Crawford stays unpredictable, uses his jab wisely, and avoids a pocket war, he has the potential to frustrate and outpoint the Mexican superstar over the course of the fight.
Crawford boxing move, he don't like nobody to boxing move, and that's what I think Crawford is going to do. And then once, this is what I would tell him to do. We'll box him and hit him with good shots. You know what I mean? Set him up. Soon he get ready to get set, tie him up, walk him to the center.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Kill that clock.
You keep on doing it over and over, and then once you start doing that, right? They lose their cool. Then they open up for all kinds of shots.
It's so hard to tell, but the bigger man, I don't want to get hit by Canelo ever. And when you've weighed so much less, I don't know what Terence will come into the ring, but he's coming up in weight significantly, and, that seems to me would favor Canelo.
Okay, well, first of all, Terence Crawford is a great fighter, but so is Canelo. I think that, in my opinion, their IQ is similar, except Canelo doesn't get hit like Crawford gets hit. In my opinion, Canelo's a bigger man. Not that he started out as a bigger man, but he's now a bigger man. He has been hit by not only Gennady, who's one of the biggest punchers that I've ever seen, but he's also been hit by Bivol, by Kovalev, who's a big puncher. He's been hit by big guys. Crawford had a hard time with a 154-pounder who hit him often. So I think that no matter how much weight he puts on, no matter how smart he thinks he is or how big he thinks he is, he's going to be getting hit by a truck.
No, I don't think it's the same Canelo. Not quite, but also I kind of figured it was going to be like that, honestly. I heard Canelo say in the interview, like, I don't really like fighting guys who move around that much like that. And William Skull being a Cuban fighter, like, I knew he was going to do that. And so was curious to see, how Canelo would handle that. And, he kept the ring off well, but that guy I felt like he didn't really want no part. And it makes for not as appetizing fight, but still got that fight in September with him and Crawford, so we'll see. It's a stylistic matchup, and William Skull don't fight nothing like Terence Crawford. So we're not going to see the same type of fight come September. I think we're going to see it.
Sanchez and Plant provide two compelling views. one based in the brutal truth of size and strength, the other in the subtle brilliance of timing and style. One thing is certain: Crawford is entering new waters, and even the best boxers disagree on whether he can float or sink. Bomac, the genius behind Terence Crawford's rise to pound-for-pound glory, recently discussed his fighter mood ahead of the massive fight with Canelo Alvarez. Bomac describes Crawford's confidence as more intense in situations like these. Leaping weights, fighting legends, and delving into the unknown are all sources of support for him.
I think Crawford Rebola was everybody always say he hasn't fought nobody, or everybody that he fought was a no-name. But I'm gonna tell you like this: what Crawford said, well, they was something until Crawford fought him. So obviously he's doing a great job because he's making everybody look normal. That's what Crawford wants. He wants to show the world that he's the best. So why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best? So let's go test ourselves.
In no uncertain terms, Bomac stressed that Crawford was not interested in the belts or paychecks. This is all about legacy. He wants to establish himself as not only the greatest in his class, but the best in the world, with no qualifiers. Some may question his resume, Bomac added, but Crawford has always taken opponents that everyone overlooks or has been overlooked, and turned them into dangerous fights, defeating them time and again. That same mindset, preparation, and hunger are now aimed toward Canelo.
So my distance is here. If I can touch you, you know what I mean, I'm in range. You know what I mean? So 9 times out of 10, my arms is longer than my opponent. So if my opponent swings and, you know what I mean, he come up short, then I know I'm in a distance where if I can touch him and he can't touch me, I'm in a good space.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But, you know, you itch close, And right here, we in the distance of each other. We in mid-range.
Yeah.
So either we close together, we mid-range, or we all the way out. You know what I mean? It just depends on what range I want to be in.
Yeah.
Crawford's danger, according to Bomac, stems from his better boxing IQ as well as his savant-like range and distance skills. Crawford doesn't fight. Instead, he assesses, adjusts, and eventually dismantles his opponents. He controls the distance in the ring, choosing when and where exchanges occur, a weapon that might counter Canelo's power and rhythm. In Bomac's view, this isn't just another fight. It's Crawford's chance to make history, quiet all doubters, and cement his reputation as one of the best to ever do it. Presenting a personal viewpoint, Amir Khan, a former world champion and veteran of several weight divisions, has weighed in on the much-anticipated fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Having experienced Canelo's power firsthand, Khan did not hesitate to emphasize the great impact weight and size will have in this battle. Size matters, bro. At the end of the day, I think I and Joe, that if it was at 147 or 150 for I said Crawford or huge anything bigger than that if it's at 160 or above I got Crawford with everything you have who isn't Crawford Canelo so anything. Over 160 Canelo anything below it was at 150 for I got Crawford. Khan said Crawford was bright, slick, and very dangerous in the lighter weight classes, but as the weight rises, the dynamics change, and Khan thinks Canelo has an edge there. His theory is that Canelo's innate size, physical strength, and ability to bear damage at heavier weights might be too much for even an accomplished fighter like Crawford to beat.
Thought he'd stop him, but I didn't expect it to be as one-sided as it was. You know, I think there's a lot of people, one of my reasons for that was one, because of how good Terence Crawford was, but also because Errol Spence has got more miles on the clock. And what I mean by that is the car crash, you know, the retina operation, a couple of tougher fights. I don't think he lives as well between fights as Terence Crawford. But it was a total domination, and just shows you how good Terence Crawford is. I mean, he's a 3-division world champion. He's a 2-division undisputed world champion. I think he becomes a 3-division undisputed world champion quite easily. And he's finally getting the fights to showcase.
With such opposing styles and championship caliber strengths, this is more than simply a fight. It's a struggle for legacy, one that will test both fighters to their maximum limits. Every round, exchange, and adjustment will count. Therefore, the question remains, who will emerge victorious? Canelo Alvarez, the proven force, or Terence Bud Crawford, the master technologist, wants to shock the world? Please leave your forecasts in the comment section below And remember to like, share, and subscribe for more spectacular breakdowns and behind-the-scenes action from the world of boxing.